Hey, good morning and welcome to the next edition of Future Forward. I'm Teresa Spangler, CEO of Plazabridge Group, and I am thrilled to bring this special edition, our partners IdeaBlock and founder and entrepreneur Eli Sheets. And I'm thrilled to have you with us, Eli. I'm really excited to be sharing this new partnership with our audience and talk about why this is so important. I do want to bring up that you are a seasoned IP attorney. You have since become an entrepreneur. You founded IdeaBlock to actually help entrepreneurs and large companies actually manage their assets and protect them. And I would really love to hear, and I think others would too, a little bit about your story as to how you made this shift and why. So let's first say welcome, and I'll kick it off with you to share your story.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it's great to announce this, and we're really excited to work with you and with Plazabridge to bring this out to your clients and help them with their IP needs and helping them innovate quicker and more economically. So,
That's great.
kind of the story about how I started IdeaBlock was I was an attorney for about 10 years in Washington, D.C., at a few large firms. After going to undergrad, I did electrical engineering and computer science, and then went and got my law degree. And then after practicing for about 10 years, like I said, I'd notice with my clients they were always spending more than they wanted to, and a lot of times with not their Hollywood big bang inventions, but all the other ones seemed to be sucking up a lot of their time and money when it came to their legal budget, and really a lot of their attention. A lot of the frustration didn't come with protecting kind of their big bang stuff with it that they would typically go get a patent on or file for a copyright or trademark, but all the other things they weren't sure about. Is this going to be the next big thing? Is this going they hadn't decided yet, and it's early on in the innovation cycle, and nobody knows at that point what's going to be the next big thing. But the problem is, you're in a fast-paced tech environment. You have a lot of competitors that are trying to solve the same problem, and often it comes down to now who has the access to the best lawyers, who has the most money to file the most patent applications. And to me, it never seemed like the average client or the average person or company that wasn't an IBM or a 3M or General Motors. They don't have access to this never-ending bench of lawyers. So another thing I noticed is, and this is true of across all kinds of IP, whether you're keeping something as a trade secret or a patent or anything like that, is really first wins. So if you're able to prove that you were first with a trade secret, that gives you defensive protection against others going forward. And the same for something that you might go and patent. You can defensively protect yourself against third-party patents going on into the future if you can prove you're first. And for the longest time, the evidence that was required to prove that you were first had been very rudimentary. So it'd be emails or conference notes, or even something that was stamped with a library date stamp. These things that can easily be manipulated later on.
Yeah,
People forget what happened last week. If you're anything like me, I forget what happened yesterday. And to come 15 years later and have to try to remember the dates and times with these very crucial events when it comes to innovation later on in court, it becomes very dubious when it comes to evidence. So when I was practicing about like I said, a decade in, I also follow the technology around blockchain, specifically with Bitcoin and Litecoin and some of these other technologies that were extremely powerful when it came to timestamping when transactions occur on these blockchains. And so one of the cool things about them that I discovered is that you can actually put information into these transactions that timestamps when these things happen, and therefore the information. So what occurred to me is that if we could somehow put proof of when some idea was hatched into those transactions, you get that power of those large, powerful blockchains that cannot be challenged later on because they're so powerful.
right.
If we could put the timestamping power behind those into folks's their life cycle when it comes to innovation, we'd have a very powerful tool for defensive protection as you're making these things, right?
Without the volatility of the actual coins moving up and down, correct? I mean, there's no volatility.
That's a lot of the background stuff that gets pretty technical, and for the what we try to get our potential customers and our clients to think about is really that it's just a time stamping tool that can't be challenged. Is
Right.
really the
Right.
upshot of it. Is let us take care of the technical stuff at that level, and just know that the level of chance that the timestamp is wrong, for example, is on the order of magnitude as the small chance of winning the Powerball 9 times in a row.
Yeah.
For example.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm talking about math.
Yeah.
Or, for example, if every grain of sand on the earth was its own earth and had that many grains of sand,
Right.
okay, that is how many potential numbers that you'd have to guess correctly before you'd have a problem with the timestamp. So that's a lot more powerful than your secretary remembering an email that was sent 15 years ago, right? So that we're trying to modernize that system for people. And also when it comes to the management of those assets going forward, once you put it into our system, as you'll see in a few minutes, it's something that you can manage your employees access to, whether it's a trade secret or something that's a little more public. These are things that you can now have a central hub to manage all of those assets as someone who manages those things for a company.
So I think there are a couple of important things that I know from our clients and the things that we work on when we're working on innovation. I think one, in this agility world where we're agile developing, an idea is going to evolve over time. So I believe if you're filing for a provisional patent or a patent, every time you make a change to that product, do you have to refile? And so in this case, you would not. You were protecting it and keeping track of those updates all along?
Right. So when it comes to a provisional patent application, which a lot of times folks start with as their first filing for if they want to eventually get a patent on something. Yeah. So every time that something's added to that wasn't in the first filing or a previous filing, something that you've improved upon since last week. If you filed on that last week, to add that bit of information, you have to file another application, and that's another filing fee, another lawyer fee every time that something changes. With us, it's a lot more transactional. So all you have to do really is upload that new material, and we'll timestamp that as well as it's being developed. So
Right.
it's very much an agile development cycle when it comes to any type of innovation, where every time that something's added, whether you want to do it daily, or you want to do it every time some milestone is reached, it really doesn't matter. We're flexible enough to allow for any of those types of work environments. And every time that you add something to us, that is defensively protected, that asset that you've added, right? So you can see how from the first kernel of an idea all the way up through something that's ready to go to market, you have all of these timestamps along the way that show the different components of that larger idea protected.
Well, and I think the second part that really became important and what we saw as an advantage for our client base, especially larger companies where they might have an R&D group or they have an innovation department, it's the management and the dashboard, so the executives can actually keep track of all that's going on and who's managing what and where in that cycle are things. So that seemed to be a really big benefit as well.
Yeah, there really is a lack of any type of tool set for that part of the management cycle out there in the market, and there always has been. There are a lot of different of varying degrees of quality software tools that manage patent applications that you've filed or patents that you've been granted and whatnot. But the game is over by then, frankly.
Yeah.
So what we thought, what I noticed is there was just a dearth of any type of pre-filing early innovation cycle management. There was just really nothing out there that any advantage to a company in their IP strategy. For us, what we like to say is is you protect your IP while you manage it at that early stage.
Yeah.
And by using, this timestamping functionality, it allows you to corral all of that innovation, get to see what's under your roof, right? And put it in the different pockets that you need to make sure that you've got it all under in your view.
Right.
And also you can decide what's important as time goes on. But know the whole time while you're managing those assets that from the moment they went into our platform that they were protected defensively.
And is there a point where it's too early, like the back of the napkin ideas for an entrepreneur? I mean, when would you suggest the best time to actually go ahead and log that idea?
It's always, in my opinion, this is not legal advice, but if I were just to tell a book, I would say, the sooner the better to get something going from that standpoint. If you're going to keep something, and it's one of the great aspects of IdeaBlock, I think, especially for the very early ideas, is that by default, anything that goes in is kept as a secret. So it's the privacy of that idea is limited to the person who puts it up and the administrators inside of your organization. So it's not company wide. If you have a large organization, right away by default, you can make it company wide if you'd like.
Yeah.
Later on, but it gives you that initial hit that is private, but it's still time stamped, and you can broaden the access to that idea. How many eyeballs get on it inside of your company or outside of your company, if you choose to do that. But also, as that idea develops, you can decide as a strategy, is this going to be something that we want to make public to block others from getting a patent on? Is this something we want to keep private forever as a trade secret? And prove that it's been a trade secret inside of our company since the first time that we put this on. These are strategic plays that administrators inside of the company can use our tool to further.
That would seem to make a lawyer's life easier, because if they're going to try to file for a patent, you have all your documentation so clean. And if you ever got, I guess, patent troll or someone coming after you, it's still, you've got all this documentation. Am I
right
that correctly?
When it comes to the competitive nature of any market, especially in tech, it can come down to days or weeks to decide who had something first. You look at litigation suits in the millions, and even you look at Waymo and those cases from last year and the year before. When it comes to trade secrets, these are billion-dollar cases. And the ability to prove when you had something, who had access to something, and that you kept this as a trade secret, provably becomes a very important thing. And really, the way I look at it in terms of making a lawyer's life easier, the organization aspect. First of all, you can pull up the artifacts of any type of idea that you've had along the way right in front of your face, with a clean timeline and provable timeline of when things happen. But also, you can sleep better at night knowing that there isn't someone in a lab doing something that's not protected that you're going to have to find a way to protect later on. And it's really hard to put that unring that bell, so to speak.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, are there other benefits, or do you think maybe we should get right to showing everyone a demo?
Well, there are a lot of benefits. We don't have enough time, I don't think, for that today. But when it comes to the ways that the trade secret aspect of protecting your trade secrets against, for example, patent infringement claims later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really defend well against that. And also, blocking the third-party patents. We have a lot of cool tools that allow you to provably make something public to block those. So in other words, if you're the first, if you truly are the first, we prove that you were first, and also we prove that they can't get a patent to block you from the market, right? So there's a lot of little tools like that happy to go into later in a later interview if you'd like. But it really is a powerful tool.
Just a question, because I see a lot of companies moving toward, the NFT world, and then artists trying to protect their music or trying to protect, their own artwork. Is this a platform that's possible for protecting those assets as well?
Yeah. So what I like to say about, we get a lot of questions about the NFTs because they're very, very big and have been for the last year or so. They really blew up. So without getting into too much detail about the technology underneath it, but NFTs run on Ethereum, which is a platform that is a little bit shaky when it comes to provability, and the way that the NFTs are linked to the underlying asset that they're trying to monetize is a bit dubious compared to what we do. So the way that NFTs work is really they track the ownership of quote unquote ownership of an asset. Well, there's no way to prove that asset originally was theirs to give.
Right.
It's the originality of it. With us, we prove the originality of this. We later on, if you want to make that into an NFT, that's great. You have proof on our platform that it was yours first, and we make those stronger, I think. So I like to tell people it's, we're what NFTs want to be when they grow up.
I love that. So what about a song or an artist's, traditional painting? I mean, is that a possibility?
Oh, absolutely. So I can even show you in a minute just exactly how you do that and how you'd prove that through time, because really what it comes down to is the ownership of any asset, whether it's a painting, which is something that you would typically copyright.
Right.
Art like that, fine art. Having the registration is eventually going to be something that you need with the government if you're going to sue. But to get that registration and any possible conflict with someone that says it's theirs, if you're able to prove that you had it first, you win that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's how we help. It all comes back to time. We can prove time beyond any doubt whatsoever.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, you want to show us what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
The new platform?
So I made a quick little dummy account for a man named Albert Einstein. I thought that would be a good name.
Okay.
Here and I put a couple of assets in. So and this you can see for each asset that you place, you'll get basically a little icon, a little indicator. In your ID portal right here. I'll show you one that I've put up before, and I can walk people through what it looks like once you put something on, and then we can put something on together. To just how easy it is to put something in. So this is just like a light bulb thing that I put on here. So really what it comes down to inside of an idea here on IdeaBlock is that you have a timestamp, right? So this is when it was verified. This is proof.
Okay, right.
The Bitcoin blockchain explorer, and here's another redundant chain. This is light chain. 2 timestamps on this, and then really the cool thing is you can see the files that you put on it that comprise the idea. Here, what I did was just put a picture on, right? But you could also have schematics for how this what you'd see in like a patent drawing, for example, or a PDF of describes some invention.
Right.
All of those, you can put any files that you'd like to, including audio and video files. If you'd like to take some, you talked about the napkin thing, right? Where you could take a picture with your iPhone and of your napkin and place it right in here, and you'd have that asset, right?
Okay.
So, and to prove it, we look. Let me click the link here to show you. And can you see the new tab that came up, or is it?
I can.
Okay, so this shows you. This is just one of many block explorers for Bitcoin. It shows you this was 43 minutes ago. I put this up. There's already been 6+ confirmations, which means this is unreversible. So this is already proven forever that this was on there. And this data embedded with the transaction, this 990E, you see this?
Yes.
This is what's called the hash of your files that you placed on there. So this is the one-to-one representation of your idea, right? That was the blockchain doesn't know what this means. It's just a code, but the code is so strong that when we come back, we can see 990E is the hash of these files. So this is how we connect that timestamp back to your file set, right? That shows this is when we had these files. Okay. So later on, we can go back and run this same zip hash again. And because that's forever on that blockchain at that time, that's how it's timestamped. That's the most technical I can get about that right now, I think,
Yeah.
without
And I
boring.
think just the simplicity of it, because, and I know you're going to show us, but it was simply uploading the files, PowerPoint, PDF, image, whatever it is, and then you're clicking, okay, now submit, and that's giving you the timestamp and the blockchain certificate or certification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is just a quick example of how, you can imagine a large corporation would have lots of projects they're working on at a given time. Here,
Right.
we've got, I just created one project and placed one idea inside of this project here. Light products is what I said.
Mhm.
So you can have as many as you'd like inside of each
Got it.
project. You can add, add employees and whatnot into these
Project teams or
groups.
whatever.
Yep. So you
Yeah.
have groups here. I just, lighters.
Yeah.
That's but anyone that's working on those, and you can really fill these out to really mirror your corporate structure and your workforce
Right.
to limit who can see what. For example, if someone is in a different group, maybe it's the non-lighters, right, and they want to see an idea that's inside of the lighters group, they can't, right, unless you give them specific access to that. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's easy to do inside of here. So, and just to before I put an idea on, here's a quick taste of just administration dashboard for things that you can see as whether you're an IP attorney in house, whether you're someone that's in the C-suite that wants to see what's going on inside of the company. These different sections allow you to see the different projects that are here at the organization, the groups, the members inside of our group. You can see all the members here, all the groups, all the projects. This gives you a quick snapshot of the size of what you've got going on,
Right.
and you can manage, what's my logo look like? How many seats do we have here? Do we want to add more seats? Do we want to take seats away? It's all in one compact place for you to see
Yeah.
that.
I mean, which is what I love about it. I mean, I've seen so many different ways that people manage their assets and innovation, even from spreadsheets to,
Right.
not
Yeah.
very, very intuitive products, but this is some of the simplest ways to protect the ideas that I've seen, as well as managing it.
Yeah, that was one of our biggest, when I came to make this, was one of the biggest priorities for me, is making something that was intuitive and easy to use, because I spoke earlier about some of the other tools that are available for after patents or trademarks are filed, to manage those, and they were extremely cumbersome and difficult to manage, even as an attorney. And it didn't have to be that way, and
Yeah.
really I sought to create something that was something that was as easy as Facebook or Instagram or whatever you're using to share photos. Well, instead of photos, we're going to share innovation inside of our
Right.
company.
I think that's great.
There's no real reason why that shouldn't be. So I think we've come close to that here, and I think that I think eventually people will see that it's something they'll appreciate, that won't take up a bunch of time in their day trying to trying to figure out where something is, for example. And
Right.
we have full search, on private ideas,
So
public ideas, projects.
can you share a little bit about the difference between, you talked about it, but just for those that don't know, why would you make something public versus why would you keep it private?
Right. So keeping something private inside of the tool here, we have two types of ideas: is private and public, as Teresa just alluded to. But private makes sure that you can prove that you kept something as a secret or a trade secret inside of your corporation, right? And that becomes powerful for, especially now, trade secrets are becoming extremely more common and powerful way for people to manage their IP.
Yeah.
Especially in places that are using a lot of software, which the patentability of that has become pretty dubious as of late, and people are kind of wondering themselves, if I'm relying only on patents for all this stuff, a lot of this stuff isn't even patentable now. When I go to enforce it, it's not even going to be worth anything, right? So keeping that as a trade secret, the onus is on you to keep it secret, and having software that manages that process and ensures that you're able to keep it secret and broaden the scope of who can see something, becomes pretty powerful in terms of the value of your company, making sure that doesn't.
And if you were ever thinking you did want to get a patent on that, would you need to keep it also private until?
Right. So when you eventually decide you're going to, okay, this is something that we think we're going to want to patent, one of our cool tools is that you can make it something public, right? And making something public means that you can block others, right? If something is out there publicly, right, and then a different company goes and tries to file a patent application on that thing, if you can point to something that was public before they went to file that, right,
Got it.
that patent's going to be either denied by the patent office, or if they go to enforce it on someone, most importantly
Sure.
you have this provable record of something that's public inside of your
Yeah.
tool and use, instead of going into litigation, which the average cost of patent litigation is getting up north of $5 million to even go to trial, right? Being able to print something out that shows your opponent that this might not be a good idea, I can invalidate your patent. That's a lot cheaper than going into discovery with that opposing party for months and years.
So that goes up to like when we file for trademark, right? Branding, like your logos and things like that. Is that something that you could also protect in this way?
Yes. So when you go to file a registration on a trademark, it's similar to a copyright. You have to provide a specimen of that, and also when it comes to interferences inside of those, whether it's a copyright or trademark process, where you might have rejections based on someone else that's filing for a similar trademark, or frankly trying to take your trademark and register it before you get a chance to.
Yeah.
You're able to prove that you had that first,
Yeah.
used it first, either in commerce or when it comes to a copyright when you did something, right? Yeah, so this is a great tool for that, for the copyright and trademark folks to be able to prove, yeah, this is when I had this.
Yeah. We're really excited about having the platform to share with our clientele and future customers, because we see such value in it. What are you excited about the most?
I'm excited about getting this in the hands of people in your network and people that are just starting out, especially looking at this new horizon. I think for IP is something I think we're on the forefront of. We're starting to see some other companies pop up that are doing similar things. They don't have the time stamping aspect, so we think we're a bit superior when it comes to the actual functionality and value of our product versus others. But people are starting to see the pre-filing IP management stuff has become very important for both the organizational side. With these other products, just do the organization side. They don't do the time stamping stuff, but we do both, and that's why I'm excited to get this out there, because I think it'll be extremely valuable, no matter what kind of products you're making, whether those be book manuscripts, paintings, all the way up to new drug formulations. These
A disruptive technology, or So what about international? Let's cover that before we also conclude. But how does this? I guess the protection would be global for the most part.
Yeah. So although in different jurisdictions across the world, the patent and trademark and copyright and trade secret laws differ somewhat, just on some formal aspects of it, what you have to prove in court and when. At the end of the day, the underlying, and it's really logical if you think about it, no one's going to get a temporary monopoly over some kind of technology if they were second, right? No matter where you are, the underlying principle is we want to reward those who are first, right? And that's true across every jurisdiction in the world. And so being able to prove you're first, as I keep coming back to, the time stamping aspect of what we do, that becomes important in every jurisdiction. And that's why, we transcend any borders across the world, and we're just as valid in Europe, Timbuktu, China, anywhere that you might be doing business. We provide that value for you.
Right. And I will say, for a very affordable price, which we won't go into the pricing here, but we can certainly talk to our one-on-one of anyone that's interested. So when we do post the video, we will post links on being able to get in and set up a trial account and, just learn more about the platform. And we're also available to be here to help and talk about it. So want to bring that up. But are there any closing comments you'd like to make, or anything that we haven't really talked about?
All I would say is just kind of echoing what you just said. Talk to talk to Teresa about any of these aspects. We're working together very closely about rolling this out to you folks. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me at our website or at Plazabridge as well. And we'll get you going and keep you happy here going into this long relationship.
Well, thank you, Eli. I appreciate you taking a Monday morning and having this discussion with us Monday afternoon, maybe around the world, or Monday evening, wherever you are. But it's great. We're very excited, and we will be sharing more information soon. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Teresa.